Happy Sunday morning, everyone. Welcome to the program. I am Scotty Roberts, your host. This is It's Sunday, which is an informal weekend version of Intrepid Radio. So we might hit some of the topics that we do during the week, but it's certainly a lot less formal than a formal show. We're not broadcasting on the radio. We're just broadcasting over on my YouTube, which is funneling out to my Facebook page, two of them, to my Twitter page, to my Patreon. Oh, I don't think we're on Patreon this morning because I didn't set it up, and a couple of other places. So welcome to the program this morning, everybody. Rudy Dog, good to see you over there. Good morning. Yeah, fun day, New Year's Eve. So same to you. New Year's Eve today. Not until tonight. It's New Year's Eve morn right now. Coffee, the water of life. So I hope you're all doing well this morning and enjoying your weekend so far. This is it, folks. This is the final hurrah of the holiday season tonight and tomorrow. And then we're into the new year already. Can you believe it? It just turned 2023. I know everybody says that. It's become cliche, but there it is. Hey, Sandra. How you doing over there in Great Britain? And boy, just before the show started here, I was working on trying to plug something in here, and my USB, it wasn't fitting, and then I noticed it was bent. It had been crushed or something a little bit. So I took a little tool and I unbent that, dented it, and as I was trying to plug it in, I ran the thing up into it was weird, just a weird little quirky thing, and jabbed my finger, which is a nothing thing, jammed my finger with the corner of the USB plug, but it's been bleeding ever since. So, but it's tiny. That's weird. You ever notice sometimes the tiniest things are the things that hurt the most? That's weird. Yeah, Rudy, you are right about that. The older we get, the faster time seems to go by. I look at my kids. So, it's one good factor. I've got my oldest twins are 31, going on 32 in a couple of weeks. And my youngest is 9. And sometimes I get really, maybe a little nostalgic. And at times I miss my kids who are now 9, 12, and 14. I miss when they were little. They were, I noticed some pictures yesterday. They always come up in your memory feeds like Google Pictures. It'll always pop up, hey, pictures taken on this day, and it's like a whole collage of pictures of Flynn and Rowan, my 14 and 12-year-old, when they were 4 and 2 and 5 and 3 and, things like that. And it's like back when they got along and they loved each other and they were always inseparable. Now they're just like always yelling, always fighting. But I can see underneath that yelling and fighting, they do care about each other, which is pretty nice. And then Ellie came along a couple years later. She's the youngin', but now she's 9. And the older I get, the older they get. Weird how that works, huh? So how about all of you guys? You got kids? You got things in your life right now that are reminding you of the passage of time? I just look at myself, I look at the fact that I look in the mirror every day. My hair is whiter every day. My nose is redder every day. Trying to figure out why that's doing that. I've got all kinds of hey, if you've got a home remedy for that, whatever that is, all my nose is starting to remind me of when I was a little kid, 8, 9, 10, 11, in that age. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We lived in a little house on the corner. I nostalgically refer to it as our house on Pooh Corner. If you know the song, Winnie the Pooh and Kenny Loggins' song. and Loggins and Messina song, actually, originally in the 70s. But we had a neighbor, Mr. Piletzik. I'm pretty sure that's how it was pronounced. And he was an old guy. I think of him as really elderly, but back then when I was a kid, I try to look back and picture him in my head and say maybe he was only, I don't know, maybe he was only in his 60s. He had to be 65 to 70 at the youngest. And hey, Elderberry, good to see you over there in the chat room. And so maybe at his youngest, he was 65 to 70, maybe in his early 70s. Skinny old guy, but, somebody who obviously did okay in life, typical middle class, had a little ranch-style house right next door to us, and nothing big, just a ranch-style house in the suburb. And but somebody who obviously retired and did all right in his career, and retired with his retirement and Social Security probably, and without me knowing or understanding any of that at the time when I was a kid, they had an RV that they'd take off in the winter and do stuff, but he had the whole point I'm making. He was kind of the grumpy old neighbor, but we got to talk every now and then too. Not anything in depth. I was a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old kid. Wish I knew him now and could talk to him now. I'm pretty sure he's passed on. If he was 50 years ago, it was 70. He died a while back, I'm sure. But he had a big bulbous nose. For a skinny, scrawny guy, he had a big bulbous nose that was full of pockmarks and veins, and it was red. And so the kind of nose I mean. And it was schnoz, but not his natural schnoz. You could tell when he was 20, 30, probably had a decent looking nose for a Polak. And but this bulbous nose full of veins and pockmarks and red. And so all of that to say this, it scares me that I'm now 63 and my nose is getting redder. Am I going to have a Mr. Piletzik nose? That's a little frightening. So I don't know. Maybe they didn't have dermatologists back in the dark ages when I was a kid. But so I'm going to go see my dermatologist. Somebody told me, I think it was Carlene, said use tea tree oil, smear your nose with tea tree oil, something like that. And that's supposed to help. Yeah, I miss the old guys now I'm the old guy. Exactly, Elderberry. That's it. And so, yeah, the guy that I met, if you remember me talking about him a few times, Bill Fisher, was an old guy I met when I was 11 years old. And I'd been working in a truck garden all day with my brother. I don't even know what, it was a farm that hired out kids would come and help them plant tomatoes and stuff like that. And we'd sit on the back end of the thing, and we'd take turns with us 3, 4 kids from the neighborhood. And you'd sit on the back of the rig, and it would automatically plant the tomato. And then the other 2 kids had to run behind and swish all the dirt and make sure it was patted in, and go from plant to plant to plant as it's being planted automatically by this machine. And we're feeding them into the machine. So it was, I was working in that all day with my brother, and we were head to toe black dirt all over us, just dirty. And we took our $5 earnings. We got $5, I think, for the whole day. That farmer made out great. So I think he paid, with 4 kids, he paid $20 for the whole day of laborers. But this is, of course, back in 1972. So I was 11. And so I walked over I rode my bike over to the little cafe that was a few blocks away, Lloyd's Cafe, over on Lyndale Avenue, for those of you who know the lay of the land in Minneapolis, North Minneapolis, right by the river, Mississippi. And so I was going to get cheeseburgers for us. And So I'm sitting waiting at the counter, and some of you may have heard this story before. Hey, Randall Flagg, Carlene, good to see you. Morgan Snow, good to see you. So I'm waiting at the counter, and it's one of those old diners, with the bar, the Formica bar with the little round stools. I mean, a classic old diner. And so I'm waiting for the cheeseburgers, and there was an old guy sitting at the counter having a cup of coffee and reading the paper. And it's a late afternoon, and he looks over at me, he got a big smile, and he says, how did you get so dirty? That was the first words he said to me. And I told him the story. We were working in this truck garden. I don't know why it was called a truck garden. I think it was a farm. So, and it was May 27th of 1972. I remember this date. And he introduced himself. His name was Bill Fisher. And we got to talking, yak. I remember he was wearing a pale yellow men's dress shirt, button-down collar on it, short-sleeved, and like khaki work pants and nice boots, and he was, well-groomed, old guy drinking coffee, and so he invited me to church. He said he was out, knocking on doors in the neighborhood to see where there were kids, which, by the way, in 1972, not as much stigma attached to that. He was out looking for kids in neighborhoods. But he was in charge of a bus route for one of the big churches in Minneapolis that would bus kids in from all over the city that didn't have church to go to. And they had all these buses because they had a Christian school there. So they had like 20 buses and 20 bus routes, and they utilized it on Sunday by, it wasn't because the church was an inner city church right in the heart of the city. They had people from all over the place who would come in. So they sent the buses out, and these guys who were bus captains, like Bill was, they went out looking for kids that didn't have anywhere they went to church, and they'd ask their parents, hey, if you want to come to church, let's ask your parents. And they'd go to the house. The parents would give permission. They'd pick up kids all over the place, bring them into church. So I was one of those kids. I was a bus kid. And it was a Saturday when I met him. And this is the guy that brought me to church the next day. I became a born-again Christian the very next day at the Fourth Baptist Church in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And that started my long, illustrious stay in the Baptist Church and in the Christian faith. And it was that same church I was in all the way up until I went into college. And I went to the Bible college that was in part started by the pastor of that church years before, down in Owatonna, Minnesota. And then I went on from there. I left that church and I went to another smaller church in Minneapolis. And they had started the seminary. That's where I met Dr. Ailing. Well, no, I met Dr. Ailing at the big Fourth Baptist Church. And then he was part of this. There was actually a schism at the big church. And there was a break-off where they launched another church back in the late 70s, mid 70s, something like that. And so that was the dark church. You didn't go to that church because that was a schism off of our church. And they're out of God's will over there. But, of course, I met a girl, and she was part of that church. And her mom and her dad used to be big in the church I was in, and then they were part of the faction that left. And so I don't even remember what the issues were. There was some issue. And but that's where we had the seminary. It was through that church. They founded the seminary, and I went to seminary there. But all of this to say, hey, Ryan Gale, good to see you, brother. That old man is sitting at the counter, Bill Fisher. He was younger than I am now. And that's why I brought all that up. Our age certainly can dictate our or govern our outlook on what we think is old, what we think is young. So, as a little kid who was 11 years old when I met Bill Fisher, an old guy sitting at the counter and at a coffee shop or at a not a coffee shop, the little cafe, and now I'm older than he was when I met him, and he became my mentor for about because we didn't have a dad in the home. I didn't know my dad at that time, and my mom was a single mom, and so he kind of became my mentor. Not kind of, he was for about 4 years, and he was the fireplace builder and the stonemason. I learned stonemasonry under him and building fireplaces. I don't know that I necessarily learned how to do it. I was just his helper. He'd bring me out on the weekends, and I'd go work with him on Saturdays, and he'd pay me. He'd pay me like 10 to 20 bucks a Saturday for working with him, just because he'd go find a little job where he had to tuck point a chimney. So he'd set up his ladders and his scaffolding. We'd go up there and tuck point the chimney where the bricks were all falling apart, take off the bricks and hammer off the old masonry, and then relay the bricks up on the chimney top. We'd do that. That was an afternoon job on a Saturday. And so he'd pay me 10 or 20 bucks out of that. And I think he'd get like $100, $150 back in the 70s for that. So, and another turn around the old hot thing, says Ryan Gale. Yeah, that's today. Well, actually, every day isn't a year anniversary from the year before, but this is when we celebrate it. Kind of like Jesus' birthday on Christmas. Just when we choose to celebrate it. And I suppose the solstices and the equinoxes and all that have something to do with it. So, yeah, I am now as old as he was. He was he died when I was 15, and he had prostate cancer. And I remember him saying he had prostate cancer before he met me. And they told him he was going to pass away, that he was going to die. He better make his peace and all of that. And then one day they went in. They were going to do something with him surgically. And keep in mind, this is 50 years ago, and there was no sign of the cancer. It was gone. It had remissed. He hadn't had treatment or anything, and so he felt that it was a miracle healing. And in his way of believing things, he said, I just believed that God had something for me to do and something else for me to do. And he said, I think you were it. And he took me under his wing 4 years. That's all he was focused on, was me. Now, he had a wife. He had adult kids that were already at the time in their 30s and 40s, living out of state. And so I went to work with him. We would take little trips together. I remember us going up to the North Shore, to Duluth, to Split Rock Lighthouse and Two Harbors, places like that. And we'd go camping up there. It was like a grandpa and his grandson is what it was like. And my mom was cool with the whole thing. And so we were tight for a long time, and everybody at our church knew us as this kind of odd couple of guys. There was old Bill that everybody knew, but Bill was keep in mind, he was, when I met him, he would have been 61, and but he was in great shape. The guy he had guns, and he could outrun me at 61, almost outrun me. Let's put it that way. And keep neck and neck with me. So he was in good shape. And I've got the one picture of him still somewhere. I'll see if I can find it. just to go along with a little story. But that whole story was to emphasize the point that age is all perspective. Because when I was a kid, and I still look back at it, and my mom will even do that. She goes, "Oh yeah, Bill, he was, she knew him pretty well. She doesn't refer to him as the old guy, but Bill Fisher was an old guy that she knew, and because he came into my life, and he was a mentor to me, and so." That's who he was, and now I look back on it and I go, I'm just as old as he was when I met him. So, and some of you know that story. I've told it before, uh, and some of you have even seen the picture before. But how about you? How about you guys? Do you have any mentors? Do you have any people that stand out in your memory as somebody who was a mentor to you? Somebody that was a hero to you, somebody that you were proud of knowing. I'm just curious. So that's it. There's the picture. I see it, but it's not in the right format. Now that I'm older, old doesn't seem so old, and young seems really young. I've noticed too that I start referring to kids in their 20s as kids. And I'm like, whoa, they're not kids, really. They're young adults. You never would have heard me calling a 25-year-old a kid, or even a 30-year-old a kid. Back when I was a kid, when you were 12 to 15 years old, 30 was like ancient and elderly. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy. So this picture, by the way, I have a bill that I'll share with you. Old and cracked, not in real good shape, but I scanned it years ago with intent of perhaps fixing this photo, which I've never gotten around to doing. And it's just scanned and it's in my files. I probably scanned it 10 years ago to do something with it. And one of these days I will. I'll go in and do all the touch-ups and all of that. But this is Bill Fisher. I'll show you who I've been talking about. This guy was my mentor, and he, by the way, had this incredible smile. Everybody knew Bill from the big, broad smile that he always had, and because he was a very innately positive and happy person, he was very happy in his belief system, in who he was, and happy that he had shared that with me and brought me into the faith. He was happy about that. But keep in mind, he wasn't a fanatic, but he was very much steeped in his faith. And that was a very admirable thing about him. So here he is. I'm going to load this up right now. Now, I apologize because the picture is all cracked and faded. We went on the 1-year anniversary of when we had met, which was May 27th of 1972. On May 27th of 1973, we were out shopping, went to Kmart, and they had the 99-cent photos where you could sit for a photo. Remember when they used to do that? And so we sat for those, and he had the one of me, and I had the one of him. And this is that old picture. I found this in the bottom of a box of my old papers and stuff. So there he is. And that's the shirt he was wearing, as a matter of fact, the day I met him. So I guess it wasn't a button down. I had it in my mind that it was a button down, short sleeved men's shirt. And so there he is. That's the stonemason that I met on that day. Steph says, my dance teacher was my mentor. She was amazing. At 15, she was hit by a car. She crossed the street getting off the school bus, broke both legs, pelvis, multiple other injuries. Wow. And she taught still after that? That's amazing. Attention Kmart shoppers. We have a blue light special. Not blue plate, blue light. Blue light special on aisle whatever. Remember that? They had a little thing they rolled out, a cart. It had a pole on it with the blue, like a police light, but it was blue. There's a blue light special on aisle 13. All handheld calculators are on sale today for $90. I remember that when the first Texas Instruments calculator, hand-sized calculator, like the size of a cell phone today. Those came out in the early to the mid 70s, early 70s. They were $110, even in the 70s at Kmart. So you were thinking of the Maya. Yeah, there you go. I got that. She had those Frankenstein scars all over her body, said Steph. Wow. A couple of guys when I was an early teenager, but mostly it was my grandfather, says Rudy Dog. So I have some mentals. Oh, you said mentor, said Steph. So Field Guy hasn't yet hit the dirty old man phase. He's just hit the dirty middle-aged man phase, which we all go through. What is it with the way we're created, too? The way we're made, the way we're wired. Guys, we can... Hold on, I got to sneeze. Woo! Snuck up on me. Guys, we can be... I don't know why it lapsed into that. Probably talking about dirty old men or dirty middle-aged men like Field Guy. Why is it that we can walk around, guys, and we're just out... We got to go get some oil, motor oil. So we're walking through the store, and woman's coming from the other way. She's got magnificent memories, and they're showing off through her tank top or her sweater or whatever she's wearing, and she's built. And I go, my wife is built better than that, but my brain still goes, whoa, whew, hey, yeah, let's do it. I mean, that's where your brain goes. You're not cognitively going, excuse me, ma'am, can we have sex right here in this shopping cart? You don't do that, but your brain does that for you. You don't even have to think about it. And what we have to do as guys is we have to either turn that off or, as Seinfeld said once, get a sense and move on. Or we play into it, and then we become dirty old men and creepers. So, can good looking, let me ask you, Steph, because I think you would have an angle on this. Can good looking men, a man that you would consider hot, great shape, maybe has a 6-pack beneath that shirt, works out, great haircut, dresses well, nice personality, but can he be a creep? Or are all creepy men that you would go, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole because he's not good looking? What if an old man said, hey, how you doing? And he's an old, grizzly, out of shape old man versus a guy maybe that's 35 to 45 that's in great shape and dresses well and goes, hey, how you doing? They both say the same thing, but would they both be considered creepy? But see, Steph says I wouldn't give him a second look. Now that's a question that, and this is why I bring this up. We've talked about this a little bit over the last couple of weeks on this show and with Wendy and Robertson, how men and women are wired differently. Why do men look at a woman in a swimsuit and it's like cognitive effort to turn off the sexual button in the back of the head? But women can do that all the time. Women are like, whatever. So yeah, Randall Flagg, you're right. Joe Biden is creepy as fuck. Yeah, he is. So, I don't know. There's a question for you. What constitutes creepy versus not creepy? What makes up that? Is it a whole package? Is it just what's said? The ogling with the eyes, is it all attitude? Because one thing I've tried to never do is ogle. I might look at a woman and go, "Whoa, I would love to see a whole lot more of that," but I can't. And so I'm not gonna. And I'll even find that if I've made eye contact with somebody that's good looking, and I see they made eye contact with me, I'll even turn. I'll even turn my back and just do something else and look at something else because I don't want them to even have the impression I'm staring at them because I wasn't staring at them to begin with. But for my own personal propriety's sake, reputation's sake, they don't know me, but I don't want to give that young woman a story that, oh, there's this creepy guy staring me up at the store today. I don't want to leave that impression with anybody. Even though in the back of your brain's already going, wow, whew, like to see her naked. That's what your brain does because you're wired that way. But your cognitive, what do you call it? Your presence of mind, your cognitive awareness, you step out of that and you go, I can't act that way. I can do it for comic effect with a bunch of people. I have had people that I know, like at the festival, the women all wore the bustiers, the corsets and all of that, and the boobs all the time, and the cleavage, and sometimes we would just walk up, and you go, "Pardon me, madam, I'm going to stare at your cleavage for just a moment because I just want to get this out of the way." Okay. That's good. Okay, I've gotten that out of the way. Now I can look you in the eyes and we can have a conversation. Now we would do that for fun, but it would depend on the person too. Wouldn't just do that to a stranger. So cognitive is what the ladies call the junk nowadays. Really? Field guy, explain that one. I'm not sure what you mean. Either call in and talk us through that. Morgan, who are you calling creepy? I don't know if you are lagged and you're picking up something from a few minutes ago, or if you're with us right now, this moment. Yes, they are creepy. Are you talking about even the young, good-looking men that say things, or anybody that does that? Steph says, what's even worse is when they're doing that to your underage daughter. That's where I shame them in public. Oh, that's a good plan, Steph. Yeah. If some guy was ogling my underage daughter, because my daughter Rowan, kids nowadays, it seems like they're getting, I don't know if it's the hormones in the milk that we drink or what it is, but Rowan at 11 had boobs. Now, if she's going to follow suit like her mom, she's probably going to be well endowed as she gets into her upper teens. And but she's got that. She's a cheerleader. She's a athlete. She looks. Sometimes I look at her and I go, she might come across as looking thick body wise, but she's not. She's muscular. She's got a great frame. She's built just like her mom. And but we'll be out. She's 12 now. We'll be out, and I could see a guy, and she does her makeup. That's all the thing now. You got to do makeup like you're 30 and or 25, and they dress nice and all of this. And we told her she couldn't wear midriff tops, but every now and then her mom lets her get away with it. And I'll see a guy looking at him. I want to go rip the guy's eyeballs out of his head and feed them to him while he's duct taped to a chair in my basement, my sub basement, not this room. So what does Steph say? I've had some. I've seen it numerous times. They do not appreciate that at all. Yeah. So I get that. Yeah. Berate them in public. Now, Scotty, that underage comment was part of the response above. Yes, I figured it was above it about the mouth breathers. I get that. I get that. Yeah, with a corkscrew, Randall Flagg. With a corkscrew. My daughter, Rowan, and I don't know if Ellery was with them or not, but Rainey and Rowan were out a few months back at the store, and there was some guy that was Mexican or Latino, and in the store, and he was looking at them both, and he's talking on his phone, and then they'd see him down another aisle looking at them and texting on his phone and looking at them, and then they saw another guy that was Latino or Mexican, which doesn't matter. They're both, it's just guys, but that's the description they gave me, and they're both texting, kind of following them around the store, and and they were a little nervous about that. So I don't think Rainey said anything to anybody, but they were just careful. She just kept her eye on them. And what does Grumpy Stack have to say? Scotty cannot run for office. Like Trump, he was talking creepy about his daughter. Yeah, there it is. Somebody will go, yeah, we saw on a radio show he was talking creepy about his daughter, mentioning her body, that she had a good body like her mom. Yeah, that's exactly what would happen, Grumpy Stack. Yeah, I don't trust anyone nowadays. The illegals are big into snatching women, says Steph. I agree. So, yeah, trust no one. So, all the stuff they feed are, what's that? All the stuff they feed are cows and chickens and other meat products have caused the early development. Maybe so. Yeah, like my 12-year-old, she'd cringe if she knew I was telling you this. 12-year-old got her period 6 months ago. First period, something like that. 12, okay, I can see it. But then the now 9-year-old, she was 8, she followed suit a couple of months later. Started doing the, you women will know what this means, the spotting. And so, Rainey talked her through that and worked her through that very well and said, hey, nothing to be worried about. Congratulations. And helped her through all of that. And helps her every month through all that. And so, but a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old, both developing. One, of course, a little faster than the other because she's a little older. Both, and they all get in sync with their periods too. The 3 women in this house. Dog hair everywhere. So, what's not showering? Not showering, though. I miss your meaning on that one, Randall. I'm looking back at your previous comment, trying to make that fit. Grumpy Stack said, when my daughter was 11, she started, and I had no idea until 2 years later. And if I did, I put it out of my mind. Yeah, that's it. My daughter is not developing. She's still an innocent child. She's not growing into a woman yet. Oh, with daughter. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do not shower with my daughters. I think the last shower I had with a daughter, I think it was Rowan. Might have been Ellery. They were like 2 or 3. And that was it. And their heads, they were so tiny, their heads were like eye shot from my man junk. And I was uncomfortable with that. Not because I have any phobias about anything, but because I didn't want to bump my kid's head with my junk while I'm showering. So I'm like, I don't want to. I told Rainey, I said, I'm not going to shower with the kids. I said, not because I'm a prude or anything like that. I mean, Rainey walks around here naked all the time. The 8-year-old, 9-year-old walks around here naked all the time. We got to tell her, put some clothes on. You're getting too old to walk around the house naked. Now, thank God in the last year, Rowan has caught on to that. It's like, you can't walk around naked. You're getting boobs. Go talk to your mom. Rainey will say, you put on some clothes. Put on a robe. You've got a robe. Put on pajamas. Don't walk around naked. You're getting too old to do that. There's an inappropriate age for doing that. But Rainey walks around naked. So she'll have a basket of laundry in the living room, which is where our unfolded laundry tends to sit all the time. And she'll come out to get her clothes. She'll have a towel wrapped around her from the shower, one around her hair on the head, the big turban. But then she'll come out in the living room. She drops towel, naked, and I'm like, "Hello." I'm like, "Hey, hey there, Mama." I say, and she digs her panties and bra out of the laundry basket, clean laundry, and puts them on right there. I go, "You don't have to do that on my count," but that's the way our house works. Now Flynn, she tries to not do that in front of the 14-year-old boy. So he catches a glimpse every now and then, though, but he's very bashful about it. You can tell. She's like, "Sorry, Flynn." And, whatever. And that's very minimal. But the girls and her all the time. And I'm like, "Come on, guys. You got to do that in the bedroom. Don't do that in the middle of the house." And Rainey's like, "Well, hey, it's our house. We should be able to do what we want. Nobody's out." But, I hug my wife and grab her butt. She's like, "The windows are open." I'm like, "You walked around naked after the shower this morning, and the same windows were right there. Nobody's looking," I said. "There's no angle where anybody can." "Well, they can see and look over our privacy fence. You can see the top of their window, 50 yards away." And I'm like, "Who's looking? Who's looking at our window?" So anyway, you get it. Steph says, "I love that I can finally wander around my house naked again because my kid and her boyfriend finally moved out. I just got to remember if the window blinds are open or closed." Yeah, exactly. And if it's during the daytime, if you got no lights on inside, nobody's going to see in unless the sun is streaming in and you're standing in the sunlight. Then people can see you from the street. If it's daytime, they don't see you. If it's nighttime and it's dark outside and you've got the lights on and you're walking around naked, the whole world is your audience, depending on where your window's facing. So, "Party at Steph's," says Field Guy. Woohoo! Field Guy says, "If the butt is there, it's meant for grabbing." I'm just going to put that on the screen, Field Guy, so we have you, when you run for president, we can bring that up. If the butt is there, it's meant for grabbing. So, Morgan Snow's laughing about that. There it is. Party at Steph's. What time are we supposed to be there tonight, Steph? So, I don't know. My wife has gotten to that age where, now maybe you guys can speak to this. Steph, you're over 30. So sorry to reveal that. Maybe that wasn't polite, but I think you've said so as much yourself. Any woman who's here that's over 30 or has been married for several years, it seems like, and you've had kids, it seems like sexuality is not as important as it is to the guy who's been in that relationship just as long and is just as old. Or in my case, 19 years older. My wife is like, "Sex, take it or leave it," and it's like, and not all the time, but it's like, it's on the unimportant list. Everything else is more important. And even last night, I'm just trying to kiss my wife goodnight. And putting the little kid to bed. She always crawls in with the little kid. And that's going to end soon, too. Little kid's got to go to bed on her own. But so I'm going to give Raini a hug and a kiss. And we're standing in the hallway. Well, we're standing in the living room. She gives me a hug and a kiss, and she's wearing her jammies and nothing on underneath them, and everything is there to be not even imagined, but to understand. And so I'm giving her a hug, but the 9-year-old is standing right there, and I'm like, I look at her and I go, "Go to bed. I'm hugging Mom." And she's like, and she just wanders around and does a circle around us, and then Rainy goes to brush her teeth, and she comes back out, and we're standing in the hallway, and I go, "Aha, and we're hugging in the hallway. We give a little kiss on the neck, and a little, you know, palming the pooper, as we say. And the little kid comes out and standing right there. It's like waiting for mom. She's not going to go to bed until mom comes in to lay down with her. And I'm like, go to bed. Take the dog. The light's on. It's 11:30 at night. Why are you still up? And we wouldn't be left alone. So do we ever have a private moment? Fuck no. We don't have any private moments ever. Unless we get angry and send somebody. I'm angry now because I've asked you 4 times to go to bed. And there's no private moments. And I remember, I may have mentioned this once or twice before. This is maybe 4 or 5 years ago. The girls are going upstairs. They went upstairs to go to bed. And Raini went up to put them to bed. And, well, she comes back down. And that's different than me putting them to bed. Dad puts him to bed. That's fine. Mom's got to lay down with him. Well, the younger one now. And so Raini comes back down. She's wearing the boxers and the string tank top, for bed. And that's it. And she walks by and I'm like, hello, mama. And she goes out in the kitchen to do something. She walks back and she plops in my lap. And all the little things, just use your imagination. Picture it as a movie you're watching. The initial 30 seconds of going, hey, kids are all in bed. Or as I used to say, hey, the kids have gone down. The dogs have gone down. The cat has gone down. I think it's only appropriate that I should go down too. Bada boom. And so, we had that moment where it's like, oh, this is going to be beautiful. Dad's going to get lucky on the sofa. When we hear from the stairway giggling. And it's the 2 girls. They're sitting at the top of the stairs, and they can see in the picture, it's a framed picture with glass on it. At the bottom of the stairs, they can see the reflection of us sitting on the sofa. Now, nothing had happened yet. Raini just sat in my lap, shoved boobs in my face. There was no nakedness. There was just the string tank top, starting to fall off, and the kids are giggling. And Raini, quick, she puts that up and she goes, go to bed. She yells up. And I go to bed. And and the kids are laughing, and they're like, Mom, why'd you put your boobs in Dad's face? They're sophisticated enough, even at that young age 4 years ago. And it's like, all right. And Raini looks at me we kind of laugh, and she goes, I'm going to go up and put them back to bed. And that was it. Just never resurfaced for the night. So I'm only bringing these stories up because if you're a parent with kids at home, when the hell do you find the time? The only time Raini and I are going to have is if we check out and go to a hotel for the weekend. It's like, hey, Grandma's coming over because Mom and Dad are going for a little weekend excursion. And we may never leave the hotel room. The last time we really did that was when I turned 60, so 3 years ago. We went to the Water Street Inn in Stillwater. And it was right in the height of COVID, and there was nobody in town. All the restaurants and bars were shut down, but the hotel was open. There was only one other person staying in the whole hotel, and we got, Raini got that room with champagne. It had a hot tub in the room, and we did some ghost investigating for the hotel that night, and she did massage at the hotel. That's why she got a good deal on the room. And so, but we were there without kids, and you can bet your bottom dollar we used that time well, wisely. So, what did Steph say here? I was interested. I asked Steph this question pointedly a few minutes ago because It's like, what happens to women when men hit middle age? They get hornier, they get more hormonal, they get weird, of course, because they're losing their masculinity. It's the way they picture middle age. That's it. This is my last hurrah. I'm done. So many men have affairs in middle age because they think they're losing it. They've detached, or they've compartmentalized everything out, and I have lost my virility. I have none left. I'm 20 years past middle age. And the typical age for middle age. Well, what is it? 40 to 50, that 10-year period. I'm 63. So, so is it typical for men to get more sexual as they grow older and for women to get less sexual? That seems to be the case in our house. It's not that my wife is not sexual or not, whatever you want to call that. The safer word to put on that. It's that it's not as important anymore. I'm like, hey, I'm over here. Look, I have a boner. I'm over here. For comic effect. So what is it? So I was just curious. I only asked Steph because I know, Steph, that you're older than 30. There's a couple of women in here who are older than 30. So is that typical? I should know the answer to that, but I don't for sure. What did Randall say? Kids are how the quickie was invented. Ain't that the truth, brother? I have, as you all know the story so well, Ellie was the product of kids providing an 8-minute space for a quickie. So, as you know the story, I was gone in Egypt for a month, and next morning after I got home, I'm downstairs. I'm on my computer catching up on email in my office, and Raini comes down naked, dropping clothes on the stairway on the way down. She says, and you all know what Raini looks like, so it's like, holy moly. And it'd been a month, and she goes, kids are watching cartoons. That would be Flynn and Rowan. Kids are watching cartoons. You got 8 minutes, buddy. And I was like, yes, we can do it twice. So there it is. Steph says, nope, I think it's the circumstances. Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, my pullout game was weak then, field guy. Very true. But yeah, that's where Ellie came from. That was the genesis of Ellery. I think it could be phases, says Steph. Yeah, and I think you're right too. I'm hoping to God it's a phase. Because it's not, because sometimes Rainy comes out with the most off the wall thing. And guys, let's just be honest. Let's talk like adults here. We can talk like adults, can't we? Your partner, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, they can all say things in weird places that you go, holy crap, I am so hot right now for you because of what you just said and how you're acting, how you look, whatever. We all know those circumstances. You could be grocery shopping and one or the other says something or does something, and it turns the switch on and you're ready. Let's go to the car. And Rainy's that way. Rainy's always joking around about penises. It's a joke. It's funny to her. She and one of her girlfriends that our kids all hang out, they joke around that stuff all the time. Rainy's got a bumper sticker on her car that says, you can't say, oh, it's not a bumper, it's a window sticker, one of those white, outline window stickers. And it says, you can't say happiness without saying penis. Or happiness, to say happiness, you have to say penis. It's something like that. Quippier. And is that what you're saying truth about, Steph? So, but that's on the back window. But do we ever? It's like, I think of a Clint Eastwood movie in the middle of the desert, one of his cowboy films. You hear the with the wind and the dust blows and a tumbleweed and it goes hoo. Or you hear the hawk on the breeze. I can't even do it because of my throat. You hear the scream of a hawk in the background and a tumbleweed rolls by. That's our love life right now. Our sex life. Is that typical? I know some people that, I don't know. Are guys always going to be that way? You always see these billionaires in their 90s, that have these hot young 20-something Playboy bunny types that they married them. And I remember, who was it? She's dead now. In the 90s, hot Playboy bunny. Can't think of her name. And she had somebody like Getty, the name Getty, rich dude, multi-trillionaire probably. And the guy was like 98, rolling around in a wheelchair with an oxygen tank. Anna Nicole Smith, that's it, field guy. Yeah, you knew who I was talking about. Former Playboy bunny. Gorgeous, absolutely drop dead. But she married this dude. And, of course, everybody saw right through that and was like, well, Anna Nicole married him. She's 24 or something. She marries this 98-year-old guy in an oxygen tank who's a multi-billionaire. They're like, and when he died, he had left a lot to Anna Nicole Smith. And, of course, his family challenged that. I don't remember how that turned out. She got something, but I don't think she got the whole fortune. And she said, no, I married him because I'm in love with him. I love him. And I, at that point, I said, oh, that's bullshit. She's not in love with him. I know, she died like 15 years ago. And so anybody remember how that turned out, field guy? You remember how that case turned out? Because she was challenged on the will. Did she get the will or not? She was married to him for, I think, a couple of years before he died. So it wasn't like, oh, they were married for 3 weeks and she killed him by doing him in bed. I don't, it wasn't like that. What did Doug say? What did Grumpy Stack say? I wanted to unalive my daughter. You wanted to unalive your daughter? Oh, just a creative way of saying you wanted to kill your daughter? I wanted to kill my daughter, not literally. Last time she was home. But I didn't say anything. Her window sticker says, if you're going to ride my ass, at least you can pull my hair. Exactly, Doug. There it is. And then your daughter has that on her window, and you're like, get that off of your car. How old's your daughter, Doug? She's college, right? Something like that. And you have to go. Steph had that bumper sticker. Nice. Well, seeing Raini has never had a sticker like that until 6 months ago. And during the summer, she put the happiness. You can't say happiness without saying penis. That's on her window. Imagine how I feel when I drive her car. She's got the Buick. I've got the older minivan. And I take the kids to school and drop them off. And I had some guy in a big truck at the school drop off, and he's driving all aggressively, and I'm like, dude, this is not a freeway. This is a school drop off zone. Of course, he didn't hear me, but he zooms around me, and then he looks at me, and he's probably thinking, who is this dude with the penis sticker on the back of his window? And it's a guy. Look up what they penned on it, Scotty. On what? What am I missing? What did I say? What did I ask that I'm missing? Somebody send me something. I just heard a ding on my. Nope, I got no messages. So, the pen is mightier than the sword, says Field Guy. Yes, it is. It can be. Sword will kill you faster, but the pen is more effective. Oh, your bumper sticker. Look up what they penned on your bumper sticker, Steph. Somebody wrote on your bumper sticker. You lost your that could go many different ways. That what you just put, what they penned, what was said about that bumper sticker in general, what has been said about it online. Somebody wrote on it. Where do I look that up? Is it on your Facebook page? A picture of that. So if you're gonna ride my ass, at least pull my hair. So it's interesting, sexual content in my show tends to get a lot of people talking and interested, and we get funny and we laugh about it. And it's all, I try to do this in good humor, but at the same time, these are serious topics. We're all adults. We can talk about this stuff. So I sometimes feel dejected around here, dejected and rejected by my own wife. I walk around and it's like, I'm like, hey, how you doing? And she's like, I don't have time. I got a scout meeting. Or kids are all home. Or I don't feel good today. Or then there's a whole list of things. And I try to take it in good humor. Now, we do have several hours a day where there's no kids around at all when they're all gone at school. But now she's working at the dollar store up here from 7 in the morning till 1 or 2 in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. And so she doesn't have to work today. She's been offered managerial positions and she's refused them. She said, I don't want that. She said, if I become a manager, an assistant manager, and she's good enough, that's how they keep asking her. She had great work ethic and she's very organized. She goes, I'm not going to take that. She said, because if I do, I'm going to have to work weekends. She said, I don't want to work weekends. I told you when I started here, I want my time. I'll work until 2 in the afternoon, sometimes 3 on rare occasions. When my kids are home at 3:30 from school, I want to be home for that 5 days a week. And I want to be here for weekends because she's got kids stuff and scouting stuff. And guys, we sit back and we go, and I'm not accusing my wife of anything, but we sit back and we go, I hear every reason except I want to have time with my husband. And that's just life. I get it. I saw that when I was a younger man. There were people all the time that we know when I was in ministry, couples in their middle age, always dealing with that time for kids, time for spouses. There's always something to get in the way. And on that bumper sticker, Scotty, about pulling my hair, they wrote in Sharpie, yes, ma'am. Yeah, nice. Yes, ma'am. Anything you say, ma'am. So, but most of it for us is lack of time. It's the same thing about working out. There's no time. Our time is so consumed with other things. And Raini's even busier than I am because now she works outside of the house for the first time in a long time. When she was massaging, that was outside the house, but it was 2 or 3 massages a week, not hours every day gone. And so now she's got to punch somebody's clock every day, Monday through Friday. So I'm home alone from 8 a.m. when I drop the kids at school until they get home at 3, or she gets home maybe a half hour before that. And and she gets home, she's got to hop in the shower. She's been working all day, or is tired. She got up early and she was tired and went to work. And then the kids are walking in the door. And it's like, come on. You've taken that bumper sticker off only because it was written on. You just need a fresh one, right? So I'm the king of being friend zoned by the ladies, says Field Guy. Describe what friend zoned is, Field Guy. Tell us what that's all about. What's the friend zone? Randall had said, whose pen? Whose pen is or whose pen was is it? I'd pen her bumper sticker. There you go, Steph. Grumpy Stack. I'd pen her bumper sticker. Everything's an entendre. Screwdriver in her car. They all looked at me and laughed. Now that's the running joke. She wants my little screwdriver. I'm like, say, don't call it little. Please. So the guys at the shop says, Grumpy, jab me all day. There's a beautiful woman who really likes me and wants to do naughty stuff. I can't because I'm married. She came to the shop and said she needed a little screwdriver in her car. They all looked at me and laughed. Now that's the running joke. She wants my little screwdriver. Well, congrats to you, Doug. And we guys, we wear that stuff like a badge. It's like, I just had a hot woman flirt with me. Now, does that mean the hot woman would have actually followed through with anything if you were available to do something? Or made yourself available to do something? Doesn't mean that would have happened. It just means I got flirted with. Hey, I got flirted with, folks. I like that at my age. Okay, get this. This would have had more impact if it had been an adult. It's one of my 12-year-old daughter's friends. Same age, 12 or 13. They were all together. They were all doing stuff the other night. And one of the moms works at one of the local pubs in town. It's a bar and restaurant. And so the three girls went from swimming at the local civic center to the pub to wait for me because one of the moms was there, waitress. And by the way, might I say, that mom is hot. But that aside, the one girl, the 12, 13-year-old, we're all standing around. They're all laughing. I'm talking to the mom and getting ready to take everybody home. And the one friend of my daughter's says to me, she said, "You're a DILF." And I said, "You even know what that means?" And her mom was like, "Oh, can't believe you said that." And they're all laughing. They knew what it meant. And I'm like, well, you're too young to say that. I said, so. Now, if the mom had said it, I'd have gone home and I'd have said, I got the badge. I had a hot woman say I was a DILF. When a 12-year-old says it, going on 13, going into puberty, you don't want to hear that. But that's how many of you guys, the older you get, if you're not in the kind of shape you used to be in, how rewarding does that feel when a woman that you'd never do anything with because you're married, you're in love with your wife, you're not going to do that. But how it's not an ego stimulant. What would you call that? It's flattery. You get that flattery, and how good does that make you feel? Where you go, I just had a good-looking woman say that I was good-looking. Now, they're probably lying because don't all good-looking women do that to old men? Old men. I'm talking old men in their 80s. Oh, you're just so handsome. And it's like, shut up. We know that that's not what you mean. What does Grumpy Stack say that he needs to, the wording, it says. Maybe nuts and bolts, says Steph. Grumpy says, it's all different for me. No one used to flirt with me because it was so big. Now it blows my head up because a lot of hotter women are interested. Yeah, there it is, Doug. Yeah, bad choice of words. I see where Field Guy came in. The wording there, Doug, blows your head up. Makes me feel great and shitty all at the same time. Steph says, I'm definitely lacking. How come nobody's calling in? I'm just reading comments. I'm all alone today. Where's Jason Patrick? Jason, where are you? Somebody put out the call to Jason. Maybe he didn't see that we were on today. He could talk about this stuff with. Yeah, they know how to, Randall Flagg says, they know how to manipulate. Yes, I agree. Oh, you're there. He's waking up. You heard my voice. Steph says, I'm definitely lacking about the shape I want to be in. I think I need to step up again and get out of this dark zone I'm in. Steph, remember when we were doing that thing on Morning Coffee with KB and you sent in your lingerie shots? You got nothing to worry about, darling. So, and I can say that safely because, I can. And there I said it. No Speedo joke, says Randall Flagg. None. Thank you. JP is selecting his speed. Oh, I see where that came from. No Speedo jokes, please. Yes. Yes, his morning coffee Speedos. So, well, for those of you who listen to Kenny's show in the mornings, Kenny's got to Terry Pitts, and he always refers to Terry as the Speedo King of Virginia Beach. So, look, we got Grumpy Stack. Let's bring him in. Grumpy, you handsome devil, you. Tell your wife I said you're hot.
Oh, yeah.
And, the older you get, the hotter you look. I'm just saying. So what's going on today?
Hold on 1 second. Let me kill this.
I just got done watching that Speedo show thing last night, said Field Guy. Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I was saying before, I mean, being so big, walking in, everybody was saying, "Oh, look at Santa Claus! Look at Santa Claus!"
Yeah.
Now, I mean, at the shop, I look at it, and they might flirt with me because I'm a store owner. They think I have money, stuff like that.
Yep. That can really set the tone for why you get flirted with too.
But when I'm out and in the mall, or I haven't been to a mall in years, but in a store, and I'll get the double takes or whatever, and I'm like, but it makes me feel good, but at the same time it makes me like, man, now I'm the same person I was 3 years ago.
I know
only 300 pounds lighter.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing here. I'm an old guy. My hair's white. My facial hair is white. I'm not svelte anymore. And I'm like, sometimes you lament the not turning any heads. And, I don't want to turn the ladies' heads because I want to do something. I like to do it. It's for yourself. You want to look good. I'm pretty sure there are women that go, I wouldn't mind turning men's heads. Doesn't mean I want to go have sex with them. It means it'd be nice to be noticed. We're human beings. We're human creatures. And, Jason needs the link. Let me send him the invite.
It's in the description.
It is in the description. He knows that. He's just lazy. No, Jason's actually the most unlazy person I know. That's a joke. They say you insult the people you respect the most. So,
but yeah, it's definitely different now that I am in better shape. And honestly, like, I was like, I think to myself, well, where were these girls 15, 20 years ago?
Right.
My pick and choice. Not saying I picked wrong, but
well, it's the same thing. When you do get that rare thing, you go, where were you 20 years ago? It's like, well, I'm glad I have my wife. I wouldn't want anybody else. Now, because we're guys, does that mean our brain doesn't go, oh, I'd sure like to have her naked in my bed? Our brain does that to us. Whether we're thinking about actively doing that or not, your brain does that. And you go, no, hold it, wait, I can't think that.
Just like
there's women I know. What did Jason say?
Oh, I just laughed.
I see. It's around your picture. Your picture bubble goes like that when you're making noise. So I thought you were saying something.
No,
But that's the truth. We're married guys. We love our wives. We'd never want to cheat on them. We'd never do anything like that. We don't want to destroy our homes. But we're guys, and the way we're wired, it's like
it's just like the comment I made to Steph.
yes,
Somebody,
yes.
hey, I'd pen her bumper sticker, of
I
course.
pen your bumper sticker. Yeah, same thing. You said stuff like that to my wife while she's
Mhm.
sitting right here, and I'm in the room. I want to go, hey, Grumpy, I'm in the room.
But that's why I
So,
do it.
it's what we do. Randall Flagg says, when you go out to eat, enjoying the meal, and a plate goes by, I should have ordered that. Yeah.
Oh
What
God.
was that? I should have gotten that. So, yeah, we all do that. But you know what would happen if you'd have gotten that 20 years ago? My wife would walk by, and I go, "Oh, I should have gone out with her."
Mhm.
And so I am happy with my wife. I got to tell you, I would be lost without my
And
wife.
you got to
And
think of it too. 20 years ago, if you took that one
seriously.
instead of your wife, what
Yep.
would your life be like now?
Exactly. Was it on the radio show, or was it with somebody that I was talking about this? I think it had to be on the radio show. I don't get out much these days. And I was saying, what if I had, when I was in the Marine Corps in 1984? So you're talking 40 years ago now. Um,
Damn,
Jeez, Semper Fi, brother. But
you're old.
and I was getting sent home because I'd broken the bone in my back. But I was functional and all of that. You all know the story. I've told it a couple of times before. But I was offered the major said that he would waiver boot camp for me because of my physical condition, but put me in as I think an E3, if I'm remembering that right, in the advertising department in Washington, D.C. as a lieutenant or something. I don't know. I was going up a rank or two than I would have if I had I was supposed to go to officers school anyway. So I'll put you in as a lieutenant in E3 and you can work in the advertising department. I can pull some strings. And I turned it down because I had already lined up an art director job back home once I knew I was getting sent home. It took them 30 days to get me out of Marine Corps. But so in light of all that, I speculate, what if I had done that and taken that position? Would I have ever met Raini? Now, I didn't meet her for another, 20 years. 1984, she was only 3.5 years old. So it's not like she was hanging out there in the wings. So, but what if I had taken that path? Would I have eventually met and married somebody different? I'm sure I probably would have. I'm
You
not the
probably would
personality.
have.
I'm not the personality type that would have gone 20 years and not gotten married or not been attached permanently to somebody. And what you think in your mind? Would it be to, a woman that frequents hanging out with guys from the military bases?
Well, I look at it this way. I mean, and it might not be a marriage situation, but people are brought into people's lives for a reason,
Yes.
and you
Actually had
might
this
not have.
conversation last night with a friend. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you might not have married that same person, but at the same time, you might have. You never know, really. It's one decision leads to a realm of possibilities beyond our understanding.
Yeah. Well, and about this whole what if that's going on over here between Morgan and Steph. By the way, Steph says, Dougie says the sweetest things.
Oh,
There you go. But I'm not at all lamenting or anything like that. I'm saying, what if I had done that and I never met my wife that I have now? I wouldn't have my kids that I have now. Maybe I'd have other kids with somebody else. It'd be a whole different reality.
Yep.
Which we could talk about string theory if we want. But I think of that, and I wouldn't want, if I had the ability, I wouldn't go back and change anything. Why? Because I wouldn't know my wife. The only thing I might go back and change is change the stupid mistakes I've made along the way.
See, but even the stupid mistakes that you've made along the way
Right.
changes everything. And that's,
It does.
I kind of had the same conversation with a good friend of mine from back in 10th Mountain Division last night. She's getting married, and she has I think there's a combo of things. She's getting married. She has trauma from her life. She has trauma from her time in. She was a solid NCO. I'm glad to have worked with her. But there were things that she saw relatively early on with the Iraq War and things like that. I mean, she was a mortuary affairs
Oh boy.
person,
Cool.
and
I would hate to have a job like that.
Yeah, so she saw a lot, and that impacts her. But she
Sure.
Not to knock on her, because I love her to death. She'll get a little tipsy and she'll call me and try to have deep discussions.
When she's tipsy, yeah, I've got
Yeah,
friends like that.
and a lot of times it's stuff that related to would be related to like her and I, if something happened post-military, because me being a warrant officer and her being an NCO, you don't cross the streams.
Yeah. Steph just said, what if you're living that different reality right now and you don't know it? What if we had the ability to go back and change things, and you went back and changed it, and this is your reality now, and you never would know the difference? That's a possibility.
It's very true.
Steph said, the drunk dial or dial text, as opposed to the butt dial. Yeah. I've had a couple of drunk calls come into me over the years, not recently. I had adult male friends that have called me drunk at 2 a.m. and say,
Looking for SEX.
I want to talk to you about that thing on your radio show 6 months ago. You were talking about the thing. I'm like, dude, it's 2:15 in the morning.
And that was 6 months ago.
That was 6 months ago. I'd be married to Thor and Aquaman. You polygamist, you. That's bigamy, Steph. Oh, that reminds you of the old Groucho Marx bit from the movie.
It doesn't go that way. Only men can win multiple.
That's right. Only men can have more wives. Women can't have more husbands.
Oh God,
there would be war in the house. I don't know how Travis Thorpe does it, to tell you the truth. He's got 2 babes for wives. He's got kids with them, and they've been married for 10 years, something like that. The 3 of them, and it's like, I don't know how you manage. So, and he's got some of the same problems I have.
One's enough.
There's no time. And but I'm going to say this is that Steph brought in the married to the 2 guys. What was I going to say? No, I forgot. I forgot what point I was on. Oh, the old Groucho Marx bit where he's standing with a woman, 2 women. There's one on each arm, and they're drinking cocktails, and the one woman says something nice, and he says, "Why?" He says, I love you so much, I think I'll marry you. And the other woman goes, "But sir, you said you were going to marry me." He says, "Well, I think I'll marry you both." And she says, "Why, that would be bigamy." He goes, "No, that'd be bigamy." So So there you go. Bottom Ching from Groucho Marx in the 30s. So let's see. No need to come up for air. Gets the job done. Boom. That's in Steph's requirements for a man. Fill out the application. No need to come up for air. Gets the job done. I just bring a snorkel with me, Steph. So. There it is.
I can breathe underwater.
I can breathe underwater. I'm good at some things in life, and that's one of them. But you can't put that on a resume. That's the sad thing. You can't go into a company looking for a job and you go, I don't need to come up for air.
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
It's not going to end well.
You're not going to get that job.
You definitely can.
Yes. Steph is like, hey, whatever works. Very inventive.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
Oh, yeah. And so, yeah. These are a few of my favorite things.
When the dog bites. When
the dog bites. Yeah, when the bee stings. When I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad. Oh, Randall Flagg said, if the CEO is a single female, you can. I don't know. Yeah, a woman that's a single female, I think that she probably would frown on guys talking that way. That's just a guess.
But I saw that movie, Single White Female. Oh wait,
yeah, I don't know if I ever saw that.
Never mind, different kind of storyline.
Hey, what kind of hatband you putting in there? Is that leather?
Yes. This one is
that's the liner hatband.
Calfskin. Calfskin. This one's calfskin.
Nice.
Yeah, I had been getting lambskin liners, and I have a few of them left, and they're really nice, but they're almost
too
soft. Yeah, and because they
do you
feel
put the
great.
satin liner in?
Yeah, I mocked after I got the hatband. I finally got all of that brim edging done. I was just mocking up hat liners. I grabbed 2 sizes because sometimes there's a little bit of a variance and whatnot. Sure. And so I grabbed a 56 and a 58 and mocked it up to see which one would fit better. And then I had this mocked in so I could measure it better because he's got.
Gosh, you need a logo on that hat liner.
Yeah,
that's like my penman hats. He's got his logo on. Not that I really need to show it again. I'll show you the liner he's got, which is pretty cool. I'll have to show it from the hat I don't wear very often. No, I can't. Man, he doesn't have one in that one.
All I gotta say is Scotty is the most professional radio host ever.
Oh, hell yeah. Don't I know it?
Just get up and walk away.
Yeah. Well, this was his everyman hat, and he didn't put anything in the liner on this one. This was the less expensive hat.
Yeah.
But he's got it on this. He's got everyman hats right there with the little logo.
And I've got some stamping from some leather stamping letters for leather stamping. Then this
one he's got that's so messed up. I should send this to him and have him redo it. I don't know if I'll have him redo this one though, because this is the one that I wore the little hole in right at the tip of the crown.
Yeah.
Because I was handling it wrong for so many years.
So
this one's all sweat out from Egypt and other places, but you can see his logo is stamped in there.
Yeah,
that's not gross to wear. It's just discolored from sweat, and this has got a couple of.
I have some iron-on heat transfer stuff. I for the hat that I made for a kid in Tennessee is a Raiders.
Cool.
A Raiders clone.
I want one. I want you to make me one that's like the gray one that you were wearing the other night. Was that our Gray Raiders, or is that a?
Yeah, basically, it's basically what I did with that
one of those.
See,
All right.
So
on
that
that
logo
side,
done.
So now I know. Okay, you want gray.
Yes.
You want gray with the black hat band.
Yep.
And all right, now we just got to work you and
On the
Wendy
logo.
both on
Got to get
sizes.
you a size. Yes.
But one of the things that I've
Actually,
actually
Wendy take my size. Wendy, you want to come and measure my head?
Oh,
See, that's what
God.
guys do. That's where we go. We go to that stuff. We don't mean it. We're not going to do anything, but
It's just smart assery.
it's smartassery.
Yeah.
Because, but why does that smartassery, why does that brand of smartassery come up with guys? Because we're sexual creatures. And we don't want to go mess with our marriages or anybody else, but we want to. Here's a question for guys.
Uh-oh.
Would you if there was no repercussions? If we lived in this magic realm where there's no repercussion for that, would you?
I don't think I would.
Do we not because there's repercussions if we do? Or do we
No.
not because we govern ourselves by the love we have for somebody?
I think it's more the second
You
one.
can leave your hat on. Yes, I do too. Because if it was all permissible, you might go, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that.
Well, like, and after a while, as you like mature and things like that, you go through different situations. It's like, why?
Yeah.
You kind of start figuring those things out. You look at everything that you've been through. You look at what everything you do, the impacts it has on the people around you, etc., whatever. And it's like, why would I even want to bother? I've got everything I need here.
9.5 weeks.
It's for me, yeah, it's about the love, but I think maybe more about the love is I just don't want an extra headache.
Yeah. That's an extra headache for sure.
One is enough.
This conversation may have created some extra headaches for people.
It may have already, yes. Well, Wendy and I, a couple of weeks ago, we talked on Robertson about friends with benefits.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we killed that topic. I mean, we talked every angle on that on the show, but friends with benefits
never work.
That doesn't work when you're married, of course. Although you'd like that to work with your wife that way. Hey, honey, we're friends with benefits, right? She's like, hey, I got a scout meeting. I can't talk about that. We'll talk about that tomorrow. So, no, friends with benefits, I think that can only go so far before it would get out of hand.
Not only that, but one, if not both, will catch feelings, and if they don't want to catch feelings, then it doesn't work out.
Because I got to tell you something. Having sexual relations with somebody of the opposite sex generally will, if you continue to do that, even in let's say I met this person, I like them, we go out, we've had sex a couple of times, that stirs your emotions. That pulls on your heartstrings. Now, there's some guys more than women, I think, but I think women can do it too.
No, I think it's more 50.
There's more guys who can just do that and walk away from it.
It's a human thing, and that's one of the things.
Yeah.
Even if the professor was in here and he wanted to break it down,
break that down.
Yeah.
Into the
indulge me.
Categorize it into the eschatological.
Is he listening? I'm just trying to see if he's catching my.
You start talking about him like that, he pops in.
I know. So even if you want to look at it at a chemical, biochemical, cellular level kind of thing, those intimate, physically intimate, the responses to those physically intimate activities. And to the proximity and things like that, you get the oxytocin release, you get the
Yes.
dopamine release, you get all of this kind of thing, and you become addicted in a way to the chemical response in your body, and so a connection does form.
Sure.
Well,
now that's human. I am also I'm a
Right.
firm believer that the way we're wired will dictate the sex, male or female, will
Mhm.
dictate how you react because of the whole ability of men to compartmentalize, and women don't do that as much. It's a generalization, but it
Yeah.
exists because it's the way we are
It's how the wiring diagram in the brain is set up.
biologically put together. What's the word I'm looking for? Not biological. Our blah 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 blah. The way we're put together. I like the blah blah blah. It covers a lot of ground.
It does. So much ground.
Field guy says I blame God. Small G God.
Yeah. I don't know. It's too many life lessons learned at this point.
Yep.
To where it's like, you know what?
Yes.
If I care about somebody,
Yep.
I don't want to
I'm
mess with
just
them
not
like
going to
that,
do
and
certain things.
not allow hormones and stupidity to take over.
Now,
And-
does that mean that we don't have those feelings for somebody? And some people, those relationships fall apart and they break up. People could be married as long as Raini and I, almost 20 years.
Mhm.
And I've known people that have been married for 20 years. Their kids go to high school. They're out of high school. They move out. Somebody leaves, a
Yeah.
spouse. It's like,
Happens a
why
lot.
are you doing that? Are you not too old to go look for that again? I mean, now,
entertained? No.
when our kids are all out of high school, we got about 8 years left. I would be 70. No, I'd be 72 when Ellery graduates from high school. Rainey would be 52 or 51 and a half. So, why did we give up the halfies? We gave that up, when we were like 12. I like the halves. I'd be 70 and a half. 72. And Rainey would be 52. And
I'm 44 and a quarter.
but if you left it, there you go, and a quarter. If you left each other at that age, say Rainey left me, she'd probably have a great opportunity at age 52 to find somebody else,
Mhm.
if that's what she wanted. 72, it's like, who are you going to go look for? Somebody's granny.
I will
How
say,
you doing?
I mean, Anna Nicole Smith married a
Oh, hell yeah.
octogenarian, not
The guy was in
nonagenarian.
98. I think.
All right, there you go. I
And
mean,
she said she loved him. I think he married her because she was a centerfold, and it was the last feather in his very long cap, And she said she loved him. She inherits his fortune. His kids all challenge it in court. Did anybody find out what was the outcome of that?
I
Field
don't know.
guy, you usually have your finger on the pulse of these things. What happened with Anna Nicole Smith and the fortune?
That falls into Nunya.
Wasn't it Getty? Was it a Getty that she was married to? So
Can't remember, but
something like that.
people's legal battles over money and over property and all of that stuff. That when it comes to celebrity life,
Yep.
that falls for me firmly in the category of Nunya, which
Randall
is
Flagg.
none your business.
Yeah, none your business. Not your business. I felt
Yeah.
yesterday learning Jimmy Johnson is 80. Which Jimmy Johnson are you talking about? Football coach Jimmy Johnson?
He's got to
Jimmy
be up there.
Johnson, the owner of WKRP in Cincinnati? If you remember that show.
WKRP
In Cincinnati.
I still love the turkey drop episode.
Coach, okay.
Oh, who doesn't?
Yeah. Yeah, that was great. Lonnie Anderson, is she still alive? Let's see.
I
Field
think
guy said,
Lonnie
I
Anderson
said it
is
earlier.
still
Her
alive.
companion, Howard K. Stern, got the money till her daughter turns 21. Then she gets the money. I think it was 30 million. Boy,
Good God.
you gotta imagine being the daughter of the late why did I just blitz on her name here? Anna Nicole Smith. Being her daughter, when she turns 21, she gets $30 million.
$30 million by the time she turns 21 is probably like 15
Yeah.
bucks.
Well, how old's her daughter now? Because Anna Nicole Smith died 15 years ago, so she can't have too much longer to wait. Couple of years. So, how would you feel about that? Knowing I might be poor now, but in 4 years I'm gonna be worth $30 million. Oh, but of course the government's gonna take 50% of that. So
Unless it's all
they
wrapped
don't
up in
deserve.
offshore accounts.
That's right. Yeah, that's another thing. Inheritance tax. Government
That's
doesn't
bullshit.
deserve my inheritance.
But you made income.
That's all been paid for and taxed, but you're going to tax it again because I'm giving it to my child, my heir?
Yes. But
I know. That's stupid.
I don't understand how you don't understand this, Scotty. See, what happens is...
Yeah. Please, I don't understand it.
You just want my money.
Well, see, that's just new income. It's new income for somebody else so they can tax the same money again.
Right.
It's staying in the family. It shouldn't be touched. There should be I don't believe there should be any inheritance tax. And I don't have millions to worry about. So I don't have a dog in that fight. So Lonnie Anderson grew up in Minneapolis, I thought, Rudy Dog. Am I correct about that or wrong? So you can gift your wife money to avoid the inheritance tax. Yeah, you can do that. You got to pay tax on gifts, though. So
if you put it into a trust, I'm not quite sure, but I don't think it's taxable.
I don't know. Something.
You roll
The
it all
government's
into
gonna
a
find a way to
Roth
get it.
IRA, and then
Yeah, the government will find a way to get it.
Oh yeah, of course.
So
it's the government.
it's the
I
government.
mean, they tax
And I work
they
for
tax
the
you on
government.
Yeah.
they tax you on the money you make, then they tax you on the products you buy, then
Yep.
they tax you on everything. So I mean, hey, if it's
Well,
not
that was
them, I
my
don't
big
know what
thing
is.
when I was, kind of infatuated by the Tea Party movement when it started several years ago. That's where I first learned, hey, wait a minute. You tax me how much on my income, and you take it out of my paycheck if I'm working for a company. You take that out of my paycheck, and it's roughly 17 to 21% comes out of your money. And so you go, if I earn $1,000 this week, you've taken, let's say 20% of that, which what's 20%? That's $400 comes out. So the government's already taken $400 out of my $1,000 every week times 52. What is that? So 52 times 400 is 4 times 50 is 2,000. That's $20,000.
Yeah.
Am I correct? Thereabouts.
Mm-hmm.
So they've taken $20,000 of my money every year out of my job that pays on paper $52,000 a year.
But not only do they take
$20,000 of that.
Not only do they take 20,000 of your money, they take 20,000 of the company that's
of the
paying
company's
you.
money, because the company has to match that.
Mhm.
So let's say at the end of the year, if we did it all at once, I earned 52,000. Government took 20,000. Let's be conservative here and say the government only took $19,000 of my money.
Shit.
Now on what I have left over, which is roughly $32,000 net is what I take for the year out of my $52,000 a year job. Then I have to pay taxes on everything I buy, which also go to the government. From heating oil, electricity has taxes. My house has taxes. What are your house taxes?
Your car.
Your food. Generally, states don't tax your food.
What the heck?
But there's taxes built into all that. Your internet, your cable TV, if you got cable. Everything you buy is taxed. So out of the out of the 80% of your money you have left over, they take another 20% or more, because you don't just pay tax on income. You're now paying tax on income and goods and services. So there's tax in everything. That's why they've come up with that formula that, lost Doug, lost Grumpy. So when you think about it, they're saying the average American, when they say you go from January 1st to like sometime in July, you've now paid everything you've earned from January 1st to July 15th. You've now paid your taxes and you're in the free and clear. That's if you figure in income tax and goods and services and everything.
Yeah.
Don't you know that you get paid, really, your own earnings are less than half of what it is on paper. I got hired for $50,000 a year, but I only really take home 22. That's because of your taxes. And tell us that the American Revolution started over a 4% tax on tea.
Right. That's
So
it all adds up, and then it's the
oversimplify
principle matter.
Yep.
You know, I am perfectly aware that it is incredibly necessary for a functioning society.
Absolutely. I get it.
That we pay our dues in order to support roads, to support,
Yep. I get that.
programs like that, our military for defense, but sometimes it does get very frustrating.
It does. When you look at how much you're putting out. I had heard Rush Limbaugh say many years ago, he said, look at it this way. He says, if you had to take your and write a check every week for your taxes instead of having it taken out, he says, you'd be very, very disappointed. And I see Wendy is on here. She's in the background. Let's bring the lovely Wendy on, shall we?
I heard that, JP. I heard that.
What did he say?
He went, uh-oh.
Uh-oh, yeah. How you doing?
Still here. I just got to hide for a second.
He's hiding because he's got one of those evil things in here.
Yes. Don't you have a show today?
I do, tonight. Well, UK tonight, 10 o'clock, which is 3 o'clock Mountain Time. See if I can remember it. 3 o'clock Mountain Time, 4 o'clock CT, and 5 o'clock ET, and then 10 p.m. in the UK. Wicked Women has the New Year show, and we're like inviting you all to come in live and watch the UK come into the new year.
Right on.
Why not?
I will do that if I can today.
Yes, we're all going to look fabulous, and I know you won't let us down, Scotty. But please, aren't you at a wedding reception or something today?
I have my friend Steve Kaufman. He owns one of the. I've done a lot of work for him over the years, and he owns part owner of the Cedar Lake Speedway here, which is a NASCAR track. Mm-hmm. That's about 15 miles from here, something like that, 10 miles from here. And then he also owns a facility right here in town, right, that does the tubing down the Apple River all summer long, where you get the big inner tubes and you float down the river. And they've got a different winter sports they set up there too and stuff. So at his facility there, he and his wife, they had a baby a couple of years ago. And they are now. He says we finally tied the knot. And he called me. He says, I want you to come out.
I had a lot of feedback about the show.
Oh, did you? The show. Hey, take that thing and wrap it around your head. Give JP a measurement.
On the hair, he'll have to wait.
We were talking about you coming over and to measure my head.
That man can come and measure me anytime he likes.
Oh Lord!
There you go.
Oh Jesus!
There you go, JP.
Mary and Joseph.
Got your.
I'm calling HR.
Listen, Jason, you love it. You love it. You always got a big smile on your face.
Well, okay, so it's not that I don't appreciate a compliment, but I'll be completely honest. I was this dorky kid, all from grade school all the way through, and I still am. And high school and everything, and I was picked on, looked over, passed by, all that stuff. I had my small little collection of friends.
And look what happened. You turned into an adult,
and I'm still the same.
Transformed into a male model.
No, I did not. maybe 40 pounds ago.
But that's the truth. Like, I was bullied at school as well. I used to stand, like, because I was the tallest, and I would look at the floor and put my head down and just be like, don't nobody notice me. And I was bullied. And it took me to my mid 40s till I actually went, do you know what? Thank you, Steph. Before I actually had that confidence to go, pardon my French, fuck it, I'm going to be myself, and if they don't like me for who I am, then that's just too bad, and I'll wear what I want, and I'll dress how I want, and if I'm sorry if you don't like that my skirt is too short or my top is too low, but that's me, that's who I am.
There's a simple term for that. It's called fuck off.
Exactly. Fuck off. And maybe we should do a show on bullying as well, Scotty, because a lot of people, including adults, are going through it. But yeah, so I get where Jason's coming from, but I also think there comes a time when you have to stand in your power. Now, don't get me wrong, there is no way right now in my life I'm standing in my power. Emotionally, I'm completely screwed. Losing Henry has broken me, and I am. This is a very good mask, because underneath that, I'm a completely broken. And emotionally, relationship-wise, what the hell is that? And I am trying to find my way, trying to decide which way I'm going to go, what I'm going to do, and I feel completely lost. But I think you just have to grab what power you've got and stand in it.
Yeah, that's true. And I think one of the things too, kind of adjacent to that, we've got to figure out as people how do I want to put this? We've got to figure out how to, along the way, stop letting things bother us as much, and become comfortable in who we are, not just for ourselves, but also for our partners, eventually our spouses, our kids, and every other aspect of life, really. At some point you got to learn that, these things, these experiences, these emotional traumas, whatever, you got to deal with them, and you got to deal with them in a healthy manner, so that
time
you can, and it does take time. It absolutely takes time. But it seems like there is a proclivity to sit in them, and because eventually at some point that becomes quote unquote comfortable.
I think it will take as long. I qualified when I was 27 as a therapist, and I saw a lot with all kinds of stuff. And my advice is always the same. It takes as long as it takes. Everybody is individual. Everybody goes through it in their own ways. And you can't say to someone, oh, come on, you should be over it by now, or stop sitting with it, stop dwelling on it, because at the end of the day, everyone's different. And I think all you can do is just get up each day, keep breathing, put one foot in front of the other, and just bring it on.
And I think all of that's very true. But I do think there is a point, and I think that point, yes, is subjective to the individual, right? You do have to get up, dust yourself off, and start again. And it's daunting. It's daunting for anybody. I mean, like, okay, so cool, calm, goofy, stupid, smart-assy exterior, over here. But on the inside, I'm kind of having a mini meltdown, because here I have, this new job that I've been offered and accepted. I've got to sell my house. I've got to pick up, and in a smaller way, because I do know people in the area, I have to start all over again. And that is frightening in certain regards. Everything that you're looking at, it's just like, oh God.
Yeah, but it's also very exciting as well
Yeah.
as nerve-wracking, because it's like they always say that when something tests your nerves, when it takes you to that point of like, oh my God, I'm really nervous, I'm not sure how it's going to come, that is you being tested, and it's a good thing to test for, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to
It
push
can
you.
be.
It's going to push you.
And your response to it too is key to it, and how you respond to that test is really important.
Yeah.
And like, I'm no self-help guru, believe me. I have my own baggage.
Are you sewing there, Jason?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I might have some needlework here or something.
He has some. You have some socks that need darning. He can do that.
I don't
You
know
know,
if I would.
darning socks is an art, by the way, because if you don't do it right, and you darn somebody's socks and they walk around in them, that seam is going to rub a blister into the bottom of their foot. So you gotta really know your stitches to be able to do that. Jason,
Scotty, I was watching the show that we did the other day, and I always love listening to you. I've always loved listening to you because your voice is like honey in the ear. And I watched you go on about your red nose, right? And
I thought you were talking to Jason.
Oh, you?
I thought you were as well. I was like,
Jason's like, well, why? Thank you.
Scotty's got like honey. Scotty's got like, when he talks, it's like honey.
Yeah.
Always had that, and he can. I swear he should do Calm. You know, all those books that help you go to sleep, because we can all bring the voice down.
Oh yeah, like Samuel L. Jackson and Go the Fuck to Sleep. We could have him.
Welcome to Night Sounds. Let me help you get the fuck to sleep.
Tonight is going to be Scotty, and he's going to be reading To Eat This or whatever. You know, whatever.
Yes.
It's going to be great.
I always had a deep appreciation for Garrison Kellier's voice.
Yes. I always liked him.
Powdered milk biscuits on Lake Wobegon with the.
I liked to listen. I remember he always did something like, and of course, Tommy from Lake Wobegon, he was madly in love with Sally the debutante from Lake Wobegon, who was out of touch for Tommy because Tommy was not the debutante type, but the debutante, Sally, she had his heart, and she stole his heart, and she had a cat, and he liked her cat. And so, and I mean, that's the kind of writing he did and the kind of dialogue he did, you know.
Oh, it's the greatest. I was so sad when they did the last episodes of Prairie Home Companion.
And that was all locally here at the State Theater in Minneapolis.
Yeah. Did you ever watch the movie?
I never saw the movie.
Where it was basically them working the final episode. Was the premise of it. And
was he in it, or was it?
Oh, they were all in it.
Oh, okay.
All the regulars were in there.
Documentary type, or
yeah, no.
I don't even know if you know what we're talking about, Wendy.
And
what was that? Which one?
Lake Wobegon and Garrison Keillor. Garrison Keillor, a Minneapolis, a Minnesota, part of the, you would call him the literary intellectual. Intelligentsia of Minnesota.
You're my favorite thing in Minnesota. Don't you know that? You're my favorite thing in Minnesota.
Why, thank you.
Because I don't know, let's be honest.
And I'm in Wisconsin.
Our years, when did our years?
When I cross the border, though, I'm her favorite thing in Minnesota. Thank you,
you're my favorite thing anywhere, Scotty. You're doing my favorite thing. Like, how many years now? Is it 20? 21?
We're 20 years or 21, or maybe it's 19 and 20. I don't know. It's like you and I have known each other since I've known Raini.
Yeah. So, well, I met you just before Raini, I think.
Yeah, you did.
I could have been Mrs. Roberts.
That's why I said in our very first show, Robertson.
God help you.
I said if we were on the same continent, and I hadn't met Raini, it would have been I'd have married Wendy.
You would be in a very different position, I would imagine, as well. Probably in the United Kingdom.
Probably several different positions. So, but I'm ching. See, that's where the male mind goes.
Squirrel.
Imagine if you, Rod Serling field guy said, imagine if you will.
Do the squirrel for me. Do the squirrel for me.
Squirrel.
Squirrel.
Oh. Yeah.
That's what he was like on Tuesday when I come on. He was like,
Oh my
squirrel.
God. Oh my God. Yeah, Tuesday. It's like,
Squirrel.
why, Wendy, thank you for dressing up so wholesomely for our show today. Squirrel.
I have my orders. I have my orders from Mr. Roberts, and I've
Yes.
taken it to heart.
Yes. Well,
Get those viewing figures up. Right. Okay.
well, and I don't know if you heard more of the show earlier, but we were talking about why guys do the things they do. What do women look for in guys? What makes a creepy guy? What is it about? I asked the question. Maybe you'll have some interesting input in. We're kind of at the end of the show for this morning, but just for a couple of minutes, some interesting input. What is it normal for men to continue on as the relationship gets older and they get older, to continually be sex freaks, to put it in vernacular, crude vernacular, but guys are always like, yeah, right now, let's go. But women are kind of like, I got some meetings, catch up with me next week. And she's your wife. What do you do? Is that normal for couples? Because Raini and I experienced that. She's so busy with other things, and and now she works outside the house, so that's added to that. And but it's like I say, my our sex life is like, you hear the screaming of the hawk in the distance, and the tumbleweed roll by.
Tumbleweed,
And it's like, why is that? Because we just don't like it anymore. Do women not like it as much after
I think
middle
this
age?
is definitely a topic we should bring to the show.
We should bring that up. At
it is. I think older women. I'm going to rephrase that. I think mature ladies.
Mature women.
Our sex drive, we go through the menopause and everything like that, and our sex drive is up and down. And I think that when we get older, that drive tends to be up and down, caused by hormones.
Yep.
But also, we want it more, and then what happens is some of you lovely lads, you get to a certain age and Mr. Wrigley is not going to stand to attention anymore or stay up and
who?
Mr. Wrigley is not going to.
Oh, Bob.
He's not going to. So I would say that I have been in more than one relationship where it was like I wanted to go and they didn't, and it was like. And you just think, well, okay. Or I've been in the other one where they're like, let's just do it. Let's do it. So it depends on the
Musgrave. He's making a hat.
Individual person. But I would say, I think you have to, and I'll say it again, and I'll mean it every time I say it. If you do not work at a sex life, keeping a sex life interesting, it starts going by and by.
It can be boring.
And the next thing you know, you're best friends that just live together, and you're not, or you're just best friends. Because if you're not shagging, you're not lovers. You are just
that's right.
Very good companions and friends.
Yeah, there's times in the back of my head it's
sometimes it don't work.
I'm not in this marriage to be a roommate. I'm in this marriage because I love this woman, and we've got to find. You sometimes you hit those road bumps where you go, how do you get through this and manage your way through this? And I think there has to be want to manage ways through things. That's really the first thing. But we all settle into this status quo. You settle into the mode of life, and you get
what you settle for.
That's it. And it's like, why did we settle?
You don't go in there going, God damn it, woman! I've not had sex for 45 days, and I damn well want it, and we're going to do something about it. And they go, well, I've got a headache, or it's the kids. You just go, well, listen, you can think of a million excuses to not do it. And a million excuses to do it, and I just think that so I've heard when I was married to my second husband, and he was asexual, totally asexual. I didn't know that when I married him, but he was asexual, and I heard every excuse. I'm tired. I'm working. It's been a long day. My legs hurt. We'll do it next week. Next Monday is cuddle
night. Now,
night.
why do people get that way?
because they want the trophy, or they want that person. But actually, once they've got you, they don't need to work at it anymore because they've got it. What they don't realize is that there are other people out there that if they don't work at it and they don't work hard, someone else will come along and take it. And you, because you're being rejected, like I said, sex-jected on Wicked Women, we looked at sex-jected. When you're being sex-jected for whatever reason, you will. It's human nature. We're all only human. It doesn't make us terrible people as long as we don't literally deceive as long periods of time, like if it's not working, get out. But if you want to, if it's important to you, it should be important to your partner. If it's not important to your partner, why isn't it important to them? Because it's important to you, and you're a team, and there's no I in team. But if you've got,
if you rearrange the letters, there is a me.
But that's true. But who wants to just be me when you can have the whole team?
So perspective from an ADHD guy, right? And we're digging into interesting territory now.
Bring it on, Jason. Bring it on.
So being ADHD, neurodivergent, however the latest vernacular goes, right?
Neurodivergent.
Neurodivergency is fun, but there's some people who make the connotation of that's just autism, right? But it's a spectrum. But anyways, so one of the problems that we have with things is overstimulation, to the point where certain aspects of things shut down. So the listening audience, viewing audience, I'm sorry. But sometimes it becomes entirely too difficult to actually achieve climax. Why? Because there's 800,000 things going on in your brain at once, and it's it's just like a quiet of all this data, thoughts, etc. that even if you're keeping it up just fine, the sensory signals from your appendage are, in my case, are blocked.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen listening, if you got kids in the room, you can usher them out now. I forgot to put in the disclaimer. This is the adult portion of the talk. We're all adults here. We can talk about this stuff.
The thing is, though,
but what happens is like if you can't climax, right? Mm-hmm. I have been in relationships where it turns into a whole thing on the part of your partner. I can't do my job in the bedroom. Why? Well, because you didn't climax. And like I feel like I'm not good enough. And it's like, no, I was loving it. It's just there's a short
circuit.
Your
job is just to have fun and enjoy it.
Right.
Are you talking about that Mr. Wrigley actually did stand to attention, or Mr. Wrigley didn't want to come out and play?
No.
Which one?
I'm talking about Mr. Wrigley shows up. He is in uniform. He has his plate carrier. He's got his full combat load of 210 rounds of 5.56.
And when they're all done, he's still got his full combat load,
right?
What you're saying is,
but he's doesn't.
Ready for action. He's ready for action.
Yes, he's ready for action, ready to go. But the job is never able to be finished on his part.
Right.
Right. Sure, they could have come like 12 times, whatever.
But we're talking about when it doesn't go
and they
up.
normally do.
Well, right, but it's a different aspect to the not going up and the problems in the bedroom, and then it can create is the fact that you have the other person. This is one of those mental aspects that you're talking about with how you're viewing things and looking at things. The other person is so wrapped up in the fact that their partner didn't climax that they can't have fun, and then that snowballs into well, why don't you want to do anything? Well, because whenever we do anything, you never finish. And
I'll be very honest. I'll be very honest. If Raini,
I kind of don't care if I
couldn't. If Raini didn't, I always got really pent up. It was like,
right.
Well, I shouldn't then because you can't. And sometimes, Raini was just like, you just go. And I'm like, and then you're talking about it. So now your mind is
Right.
off the passion and the ethos of it, or the eros of it, whatever you want to look at it, and it's on the thinking about it. Now I'm thinking about it. So
And now it spirals, and now the other person picks
right.
up on it, and that's a dynamic that, like,
Here's a question for you. What if you're with a woman and you're really into her, and you can't
Both ways.
Mr.
Yeah.
Wrigley up, right?
mm,
You not do other things to her as
exactly.
you get Mr. Up, but what happens if you didn't do anything else to her?
Well, that would be a disappointment on her part, and that would be a failure on his part.
As guys should be, if guys can't get Rupert or Omar or Mr. Wrigley working properly. We used to call him Omar, the tent maker, but
The savage dragon.
the savage dragon. If the savage dragon is not breathing fire, if that's not working, there are things you can do.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's about having a good time, and it's about connecting, and that's
it's all
people
about.
forget about that.
And I really think, Scotty, we should do Tuesday's show, the New Year's show on Sex Drive. Sex Drive, and also the secret of the orgasm, because quite frankly, it seems to be quite an emotive topic. Do you not believe?
If I was a more prurient individual, I'd say we'd have to do some research on that first.
Well, I'm all for it. You know me, I do my research well.
All right. Well, good. That's good. Whew.
I do. Jason, behave yourself.
Oh, behave.
He's got a win-win to come, and you know how much I like to tease Jason when he's on. He's like, "Oh God, so Jason, I'm coming to you," and he's like, "Oh, here she comes," because obviously, Michael's brilliant, he's there, but Jason sort of slants in the corner doing something, and I'm like, "So Jason, coming to you now," and he's like, "Oh gosh,"
and Jason's like, "Well." let me tell you what I think about that.
He's like Rumpelstiltskin over there, isn't he? Spinning straw into gold.
Great. I just got called on in class. Son of a this is why I don't show up to class.
It's doing well. Yeah, so
Rumpelstiltskin.
boys and girls, tune in Tuesday to Robertson, where Scotty and I will have another exciting topic.
Yes, we will on Tuesday. Another exciting episode for you.
Though, because we will be fantastic at the subject because we come from personal experience. Pardon the pun.
Yes, no pun intended.
No.
Or accepted.
But yes, no, I totally agree that, I have to say about older women, about looking at older men thinking they're dirty old men. I think if you're a younger, and you see an older guy looks at you, there is that kind of, in some girls,
yes,
he's a right dirty old man. In other girls,
he's an old dude,
sugar daddy, right? Sugar daddy, or we like the attention. It goes the same with women. I have had, let me tell you, so many younger guys that want to date me because they all want the woman who's got her shit together, the older woman who's been there and done it and ticked off, and she's better in bed and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, where do you get all this stuff from? Is there a big book out there with the older woman or something?
Way back, this is obviously before Raini and I were dating, and before I knew you. I was just getting to know you is when we were.
I have no answers, by the way, folks, to any of those questions. I just
when we were doing scotch and cookies at my house every Thursday night, and there was one young lady. She was literally half my age, and but she would always stay longer than anybody else at Scotch and Cookies, and we were shagging every Thursday night. Shagging. Didn't talk at all during the week. No other day of the week did we ever talk, but she'd show up.
Thursday was shag night,
and we were shagging, and she was one of the hot little belly dancers at the festival. And I think I was 43 and she was 21 or 22. And but there was a guy that I was doing business with, older guy, 68, 70 years old. And well-to-do. He was a financial dude, and he was funding some of my stuff, my properties. And he met her. She came with me one day. Oh, yeah, I guess we did lunch every now and then. She came with me one day to his office because I had to meet him for something. And he gave her his card, and he said, "Give me a call. I got a couple of questions for you." Okay. Well, she told me about a week later, she said, he called me, she said, and he told me, he made an offer to me that he would set me up in an apartment downtown Minneapolis.
Wow.
And pay me X number of dollars a month if I would be his mistress. I said, "Are you kidding me?" And she said, "Should I do it?" I said, "That's totally up to you." I said, "If that's what you want to do." She said, "It's a pretty good deal." She said, "It's a nice apartment, and it's a relatively good amount of money, better than what I'm making as a waitress going through school." I said, "Honey, if that works for you, that's up to you." But what was my reaction to him? "Tom, you fucking old creepy bastard." I said, "Keep your face and your words off of my friend," because she was my friend. Now, was it because I was having sex with her once a week, or was it what was it? She was also my friend. I felt like I needed to stand up for her, and our business relationship ended.
But there are predators out there, right? In both sexes, there are predators out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember.
And is that predatory? Men have been doing that for generations.
And women obviously have now got onto the act in some ways, and we've finally caught up with you. But years ago, and I don't know if I ever told you this story, I was in Italy with an ex-boyfriend on Holly Bob's, and he was like, we'd gone with two families, they were lovely, and they had kids, so they went off and did their thing. And he was like, "Well, what are we going to do?" And I said, "Well, let's just go to the beach and like get a tan." We went to the nudist beach for some reason. Don't ask me why.
Oh,
so we went
to get nude.
No. I was not getting nude, right? So anyway, when I got there, I thought, well, it's perfectly safe to go topless because I'm in Europe. No one's going to know me here. Everyone's gone to the other resort. It's all going to be fine. So I decided to go topless, and there I was, sunglasses on, topless,
fully clothed.
And then about, I don't know, half an hour, 40 minutes afterwards, I felt this shadow come across my body.
Oh Lord!
And it was one of the guys from the party. "Hello. Oh,
well, hi. How you doing?" Carrying on normal conversation.
My God, he can now see my boobs, right? He can now see them, and I've got two ways I can be cool about this. So I can, so I carried. I was, my boyfriend was half asleep next door, and anyway, he was like, "Oh, so you're out here? There's a whole beach, Scotty. There's a whole beach," and he's found it, right?
And
anyway,
he found
so
it.
chatting there, chat. So I thought, I'll just turn over. So I just turned over onto my front. And luckily, he was like, I said, "Anyway, I'm going to do my back now." Anyway, so he.
Oh, you need some lotion on that?
Exactly. Well, that evening we met up for dinner, all of us at the restaurant. And I remember saying to my ex-boyfriend, "Oh God, he's there."
You've now all seen each other naked.
He goes, just brazen it out, Wendy. Just brazen it out. I don't want to. Anyway, he come up to me and he went, "Hi, how are you? Did you have a nice time?" I was like, "It was lovely, thank you." And he went, "I've got to say it." He said, "Why the hell are you wasting yourself on him?" He said, "You're bloody gorgeous." He said, "I've got so many men that would want to date you and set you up in a place of your own."
And set you up in a place of your own.
I said, "Are you talking as a sugar daddy?"
Yeah.
Said, "Well, darling,
I need a sugar daddy, by the way.
And you know what, Scotty? Part of me wishes I'd done that because I ended up with the worst dating experience of my life. And who knows where I'd be now?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
So
you can't focus on the who knows.
And by the way, if there's any sugar daddies out there that want to support me, You know how to get hold of me.
God is available for dates and bar mitzvahs.
I'm available for dates and bar mitzvahs.
Jesus,
And
Mary.
wedding.
And so, what did the rabbis say to the? Yeah,
He's available, aren't you, Scotty? You get a little
eat the
card.
lox and bagels, folks. What's that, Wendy?
We're going to get a little card printed up with,
Yes.
Scotty Roberts available for all dates. Do you know what?
Available for all dates and bar
You
mitzvahs.
should be an escort, Scotty, because my God, you could make some money. All those,
Oh, Jesus.
you'd be like dressed in your suit. You know how to talk to
Oh,
a
yeah.
woman. You know how to make her feel good, and you'd be like,
And I'd have to excuse myself every 20 minutes because I'm an old guy who has to pee a lot. Pardon me, I got to go pee again.
Hey, you never know. They might be into water sports.
Might be into it. And Wendy laughs knowingly.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Jason did.
Hey, when I met you, I didn't have to pee all the time. So
You're just gonna have to cork it up and be like this.
Cork it up.
yeah, cork it up. Hey,
Okay.
So, yeah.
No, what you do is you get a catheter.
Yeah, you just hook it up because that's
We all
Then you
win.
never have to
get
leave the
intimate.
table.
You have to excuse me. I need a couple of minutes ahead of time because you got to undo your catheter and put it in your bag. You know, imagine that.
Oh, good
Oh.
God.
I've just got something in my bag. I've just got to pop it out.
Yes, just hang on a second. I'll be right back. I've got to freshen up.
But
For the listening audience, the producers would like to apologize. No.
Yes, the
I think what's
producers are not responsible for anything that's said on this show.
when I turn up, the tone goes down, especially if I'm in that kind of mood and I'm cheeky. I'm just
You are
like,
cheeky.
I am cheeky.
The show's over. I got to give you a call because you're cheeky.
Do you remember the one I did tell you about though? Was when I went to Rome and I bought a video. Remember the old VHS videos?
Yes.
We went to a sex store and I bought my friend and we bought a VHS video for the boy, the guy I was seeing at the time. And I remember I was like, look what I found. It was a pick and mix. I just picked it out of the box and brought it home. Anyway, so he put it on. I was upstairs, unpacking or whatever. And he came up and he went, are you taking the piss? And I went, what? He goes, are you seriously taking the piss? What are you on about? He goes, come downstairs. So I go downstairs. He's got video. Video on. And there's this woman with a very large shoe in her hand, right? And the said person that was on his knees, right? Well, she was piddling in the shoe. She was piddling in the shoe.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my.
She was piddling in the shoe. And then this guy had to worship her. And he goes, what the hell did you just bring me back?
What is this movie?
I
don't
said,
understand where the plot's going.
I said, I don't know.
Are you trying to tell me something?
I just picked it out.
Message.
I just picked out of a box of videos, and he went, "What the fuck do you think I'm like?"
Well, I guess I know now.
And I said, "Yeah, but what happens in the end?" He went, "What?" I said, "What happens
Yeah.
in the end?"
How's this movie end?
And apparently it was a water sport, so the label was in Italian. I didn't know that.
Well,
I thought they were talking about polo. What? I don't.
Yeah. So could you imagine being that woman in the shoe store? No, I need something a little bigger, something a little hold more.
If you can imagine with that shoe, a lot of things happened, and I'm not going into detail. It's a family show, but it's like
Yes, yeah, it's a family show. We cut the line at water sports. So.
Feel free, folks, to come back on Wicked Women, and we'll finish the story.
There you go. Yeah. Jason, let's call Wicked Women today, and we'll
be after midnight.
We'll sabotage her show with water sport talk.
I'll just make sure that Jason is in full beam on the screen, so everyone's going. So, Jason,
nice.
Jesus.
well, you've got to
Can't
laugh.
take you to anywhere.
It's the last day of the year. You've got to have a laugh, right?
That's right. It's the last day of the year.
Pretty sad.
Tomorrow is a new year. So
Indeed.
Well, I see
Wow.
our last comment was from Field Guy about 20 minutes ago.
You hear a
So
lot of things.
I think people are ditching on the comments, or they just don't know what to say. Oh no, he just made that comment. You hear a lot of things women say in shoe stores. Just saying that's right. He worked in a shoe store.
They're
Field Guy.
listening like this, Scotty. They're going.
Say that again.
They're all listening like this.
I'm like, what
they
are
are.
these
They're
three
glued
gonna
to
say next? Holy shit.
Here you go. Here you
Can
go,
you
Field Guy. There it is.
Conversation that Scotty and I have after the show, because after
Yes.
the show it's worse.
Yes.
After the show, there are no witnesses.
Yes.
Before the show and after the show with Scotty, it's always fun because we laugh so much. And
What happens after the show stays after the
we
show.
should really do some of the bloopers that we actually sound and go, can you
Yes.
believe
Just
Yes.
put it all to Benny Hill music, and
Yes.
and that makes it okay.
Yes. That makes it all okay.
Hey, that-
Hey, wait, honey, sit right there. Over here.
remember
Yep.
that scene where Benny Hill got chased by scantily clad women
Yes.
in undies, and everyone thought it was disgraceful because it's discriminatory to women, but actually he was saying no, it's because the women are in their own power and they're chasing the men. And saying,
I'll go along with that answer.
yeah, absolutely. So it was
Judges
otherwise-
say yes, that answer counts.
Survey says.
So, all right. As long as I
well-
want to prolong this, I want to rush to the after show talk. So, but we've got to get out of here. It's 11:30
Wait.
almost. What's it?
I'll be waiting.
She'll be waiting. All right. Well, you just sit right there and wait. And
I will.
give me-
Jane, I shall see you tonight.
Yes.
About, let me see, what's the time? 20 past.
It's 11:30 now. It is 4.5 hours from now.
4.5
Yeah, so
hours.
it'll be 4 o'clock Central Time.
4 o'clock
Wicked-
Central, 5
Wicked
o'clock
Women
Eastern.
Triple A. Yeah. Wicked
If
Women
you're
Triple A
in
YouTube. Yeah.
England, it is
Come and
10
find
PM.
us.
What I'm hoping though is that I don't have one of those just responses to stimuli, because it's late. It'll be late there, and I'll be like, oh god, it's getting late. No, I'm getting tired. Gonna go to bed.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know about y'all, but that's what happens to me most New Year's Eves now at this point.
Oh yeah. That's been like
Stay
half
up
of
and
my
watch the
life.
ball drop. Yeah, okay.
Half of my life has been New Year's Eve. It's like, oh Jesus, it's only 10:40.
We must find ways to stimulate you, Jason, so that you stay up with us.
I'll leave that up to you. I'm not going to have anything to do with that. You're going to find ways to keep him up.
Oh Lord.
That's what I heard her say.
The innuendo.
Well, in wherever you want.
Yes.
So, all right. I'm going to let you two criminals go.
Yeah, it's
I can
about
make my
criminal.
show clean again.
See you all later.
All right. See you in a bit.
Later, guys.
See you, Wendy. See you, Jason. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. That show took an interesting direction today. So I want to thank you all for being here. Remember, tomorrow is New Year's Day. I may or may not do a show tomorrow night. Intrepid Radio. Just watch for the announcements, and I'll let you know. And it all depends on how the day goes. If it's a boring, slow day, which New Year's tends to be, we might do a show tomorrow night. We'll see how it goes. So until then, and until you see the announcement, you all have a great time. Have a good New Year's Eve. Be safe, as they always say. And I will see you tomorrow or Wednesday or Tuesday with Robertson. So until then, live long and prosper.